So today I'm gonna talk about plans, making plans. We're done. I wasn't with you guys last week. I went down a little early so I could go to church with Seven. Seven is a children's pastor there in Alexandria, Louisiana. His pastor's name is Bubba. He's a real nice guy. He's a Bubba, that's for sure. It was a good time. So I wasn't with you last week. This is my first Sunday with you all at Bethel in the year 2022. So anyway, I'm going to talk about plans. We're going from one year to the next, and it's awesome. I'm glad that I get to do communion today. I'm glad that we get to have that to start the new year. We're going to get to that a little later, but I love that we get to start a year with communion, remembering why we're even here. So going from 21 to 22, do you have plans for the new year? Let's make it even shorter. Do you have plans for lunch? Who right now, and you don't have to, I don't want to embarrass anybody, who has a roast in a crock pot or already knows what restaurant they're going to when church is out? Anybody already set to go? Like, this is our standard. Sundays we always go to here, or Sundays my mom always puts a roast in, or anyway, so we have plans. You came to church today with plans. Our church has plans. We planned on our pastor preaching. That plan got changed. Now we got a backup guy. He's preaching. Okay, well, something happens to him, Giselle will take over. We have it planned out. She just found that out, by the way, that she's third in line. Oh, we are beginning the new year. I want to talk about plans. Any resolutions? A lot of people say, oh, I don't believe in resolutions. And a lot of people are like, oh, I love resolutions. So, of course, the biggest resolution that most people make, you silly goose. The resolution most people makes is weight loss. Or they might want to try to get healthy. Or they might want to quit smoking. Or they might want to lose something. They want to do something. But they want this to be a new year and a new you. And a resolution. And I did some little bit of research, not a whole lot on resolutions and on trying to stick to something, because I'm talking about plans. A resolution is a plan. How am I going to improve myself or improve my situation this year? And they say one of the main things to do when you're going to resolve to do anything is to let somebody else know about it. If you keep it to yourself, you're most likely to quit. And I have some of you we're friends on Facebook. You know I'm on a weight loss program, and it's going pretty good, but I'm still way far out than I want to be. But one thing that my coach told me on this program is she said, put it on Facebook, your wins and your losses. And the first time I was like, oh man, that's scary. That's these people are going to know what I'm doing, and they're going to know when I succeed and when I fail. But I did it the first time because she told me to. And what was interesting is my buddies at work now, because that's my big thing, is a lot of my work is on the road. And when you're on the road working, you stop at a gas station, you get a pop and a breakfast burrito to start your day. And then if you're on the road, on Wednesdays, Come and Go has $1 pizza day. So you can get 3 slices of pizza. And then there's me and my buddy had a map of all the places to go on what days of the week for the best meals while we were on the road. But I put this on Facebook. I said, hey, I'm trying to lose some weight. I've lost 1 pound or 2 pounds. Now I go to work. And my workmates, we go into the gas station. I start to reach for a breakfast burrito. Aren't you trying to lose weight? Oh, yeah, that's right. I go to get a pop. Hey, are you allowed to have pop on your diet? So it helps to have somebody in your corner who is looking out for you. It helps to have somebody who knows what your goal is and that you're aiming for something, that you're working towards something. So I don't know if you're a resolved person or not a resolved person, but if you are, let someone know. Let someone be in your corner. Help you. Let's see. So I have, of course, I told you this. I have some plans for the year. And the reason I'm trying to lose weight is not just because I'm a fat pig. That's reason enough. But I'm trying to get on this Mercy ship, African Mercy. It does surgeries. We had a guy talk about it a couple years ago, Bob Cook, and it's a really cool opportunity. And you go down this ship and you work in wherever they need you, but they perform surgeries on the continent of Africa, the people who can't afford dental surgery and cataract surgery and tumor removal. I really want to go there, but because they're a ship and their beds are only so big, they have to limit the size of the person who's sleeping in that bed. The guy above you or below you would appreciate you not being 500 pounds. So they have a body mass index that you got to get to be on the ship. And I put my numbers in, and it came back with flashing red and a thumbs down and everything. We're not going to let you on. Sorry. They put it nicely. So I have to reach that. That's my goal, and that's my ultimate reason. But also, to get on that ship, because it's off the coast of Africa, I got to get my passport updated. I got to get shots that you need if you're going to Africa. There's quite a few you got to get. There's a lot of things you have to do before going. So if that's your plan, if that's my goal, then there are steps I have to take to get there. And I'm talking this morning about plans. What plans do you have for the year? But also, what plans do you have for your life? What plans, what goals have you set? What goals? If you aim at nothing, I've heard it said, you will hit it every time. You got to aim for something. There's got to be a plan. There's got to be a way. And I wish I'd thought of this sooner. I'm 53 now. I'm looking to want to retire here in a little bit, but I wished I'd have been looking at retirement when I was 23. I wish I'd have thought, you know what, one day I'm not going to be 23. I'm going to want to not work. And if you start earlier, you can quit earlier, I believe. I won't know that because I'm still working, and I got to work at least another 10 years. But that's my plan, is 10 years I can retire. But to get there, I have to do some things. I have to put things in order. I have to pay off debt. I have to not, go buy a brand new car that takes, monthly payment. There's things I have to do to make my plan work. Well, plans are a good thing. And one thing, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about when it comes to plans, of course, is healthy plans, is your food. Because when you get on a diet, one of the things that is hardest is, for some reason, junk food is a whole lot easier to get and a whole lot cheaper than good food. Have you noticed that? A bag full of healthy food is $50, and a bag full of unhealthy food is $5. So you got to work hard to try to find the right things. You plan ahead. You can't just say, well, tonight we'll just eat out. You have to do a lot of your own cooking. So you make a meal plan. Me and Tammy, I do it about every Monday. I'll sit down and type out a plan of what squash or what vegetable we're eating and how much and this and that. You have to make a meal plan. Plans are important. Financial plans. I'm trying to. My kids are still quite young and right there. But they got to learn now that you start making financial smart decisions now, you won't be in trouble when you're old. You start a 401k or you start a Roth IRA. You put just a little bit in. And you make these little adjustments to your income. You make a meal plan to help with your diet. You make a financial plan to help with your finances. Plans are important. So one plan, and I told my wife I was gonna tell on her today. Me and her. Anyway, let me just go this. How many of you already right now have vacation plans for this summer? Anyone know what they're going to do? Going somewhere, a class trip, a family reunion. The Canes always go. Do I need to even ask? Are you going to the All-Star game? And it's where? That's a no-brainer then. That's where they love to go anyway. So I know that every summer they go to the All-Star game, Major League Baseball All-Star game. That's just a guarantee. As soon as Cinnamon married Phil, she married into that plan for the rest of her life. Whether she likes it or not. She seems to like it. She's smiling, but he is sitting right there. But that's their plan. That's always theirs. And some years we go to Louisiana. We did Disneyland a couple times. We've done stuff with a youth group. Me and my wife, I don't think we have any plans for this coming summer. But one thing I noticed about me and my wife when it comes to vacation, and you will fall on either one of two camps. Maybe there's something in the middle. I haven't found it yet. When it comes to planning vacation, I am a planner. I plan every day, every meal, from the time we leave the house till the time we come home. There's not an in-between. There is if we're going to leave here, I'm not going to get somewhere and go, man, I wonder where we could eat. I'm going to tell you where we're going to eat. I Googled it months ago. I found the best thing. Here's probably what you're going to want to order. They are a submarine sandwich that's ran by penguins. It's the coolest thing you will ever see. I always have to, I do that. I'm a planner. It gets done. You do things and you get to experience things every day. My wife is let's just wake up and see what today brings. Wake up today and just, if we want to sleep in, we can sleep in. Are there people who love sleeping in on vacation? Like, that is a sleep in week. You guys could not be more wrong. You could not be more wrong. You sleep in on Saturday. When you're on vacation, you got to go, 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 go. You got to get up and get things done. You got to experience things. You got to be a mover and a shaker. You're not going to get to the cool stuff if you're sitting around lounging. What fun is that? So you can see how when it comes to vacations, me and my wife, so when I plan my vacation as strictly and stringently as I do, I have to include one day that's nothing. One day that's either rest or one day that's we're not going to do anything till noon. But if it was up to me, every second of every day would be planned. And if you want to rest, we'll rest when we get home. We'll rest when we get back. We'll rest when we're dead. We don't rest when we're at Disneyland. So I decided there are two types of vacation people. There are planners and there are flowers. Wait, flowers? That doesn't make sense. Planners and flowers. Huh. Planners and flowers. Planners plan everything. Flowers just go with the flow. They just wake up and enjoy whatever is there. I can't do that. That's not me. I can't. It's just not who I am. I got to know what I'm going to be eating, where we're going to go, what we're going to experience, what we're going to see. Oh. Just go with the flow. I plan every day. And that is, so one thing my family likes to do, we like to go to Water World over in Denver. It's like the number 3 water park in the United States. It's really, really awesome. I love Water World. It's a blast. Water World opens at 10. That does not mean the Beagleys get there at 10. That means the Beagleys get there at 9:30. You put your sunscreen on. You get a map of where all the attractions are. You get in line. As soon as the gate is open, you run through. You put your stuff down. You go to your first ride. You make a plan for the day. This will be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. We will break for lunch. Lunch is over here. We will come back and do 6, 7. Then we will do 4, 5 again. Now, the good news for my children is I'm getting so fat and so old that all that usually ends after ride number 2. But that's how I do so. If I get there, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it planned. Judges. We're going to talk about a guy who had a plan. We're going to talk about one of the cool stories in the Bible. This is one of our buddies. His name is Gideon. Judges chapter 7. If you have your Holly Bibles, it'll be up there. Can you read that? Yes. So this is the story of Gideon. If you know the story, stick with me here a little bit. I'm not going to do the whole thing. But it's a really interesting event. He's a really interesting judge. God finds this guy hiding in a cave. He's hiding, trying to press his grapes because the Midianites were stealing them. So he's pressing his grapes and his wheat and all that. And anyway, this is Gideon. He says, and the Lord said to Gideon, the people who are with you are too many. He had called him to do battle. He had said, Gideon, you're gonna raise up an army. You're going to come down. You're going to fight the Midianites. And Gideon's excited. He says, but you are too many to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel claim glory for itself against me, saying, my own hand saved me. Now therefore proclaim in the hearing of the people, whoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart at once from Mount Gilead. And 22,000 of the people returned, and 10,000 remained. But the Lord said to Gideon, the people are still too many. Still, bring them down to the water. I will test them for you there. Then it will be that of whom I say to you, this one shall go with you, the same shall go with you. And of whomever I shall say, this one shall not go with you, the same shall not go. So he brought down the people to the water, and the Lord said, everyone who laps from the water with his tongue as a dog laps, you shall set apart by himself. Likewise, everyone who gets down on his knees to drink. So you're just separating them by lapping like a dog or not. The number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people got down on their knees to drink water. So out of 10,000, 300 did it this way. The Lord said to Gideon, by the 300 men who lapped, I will save you and deliver the Midianites into your hand. Let all the other people go, every man to his place. So the people took provisions and their trumpets in their hands, and he sent away all the rest of Israel, every man to his tent, and retained those 300 men. The camp of Midian was below him in the valley. So Gideon was following God's plan. God had a plan to attack. Gideon was okay with that plan. So now he gets to be in charge of a 32,000-man army. And you have to understand, if you read the story completely through, it says the Midianites and the other armies were numerous as the sand. So they were much larger than 32,000. But Gideon is thinking to himself, you know what? I got a large army. 32,000, we're still outnumbered, but it's probably 4 or 5 to 1. That's pretty good odds. I can probably get this. I can probably do it at 32,000. God said, nah, that's too big. Too big. So now Gideon might be thinking, well, okay. Get rid of a couple. I got 10,000. 10,000, it's awfully skimpy. We're now down to about 10 or 15 to 1. But 10,000, I could probably still do it. It's still kind of large. I'm going to have to rethink some stuff. I'm going to have to send some people around back. We're going to have to fight harder. You're going to have to use 2 swords. We're going to get it. I think 10,000, we might actually still be able to pull a win off. And God says, no, we're changing the plan again. Now I'm thinking, Gideon had to be wondering, what in the world? Now you've gone crazy. God, have I really heard from you? And if you read the whole story of Gideon, God had to prove himself 3 times before this to Gideon. That this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Gideon is confused. And my thing is, how do I know that Gideon was not sure of the plan? Because God said in verse 10 and 11, but if you are afraid to go down to the camp with Purah, your servant. And you shall hear what they say, and afterward your hands shall be strengthened to go down against the camp. Then he went down with Purah his servant to the outpost of the armed men who were in the camp. So I'm not going to do the whole story. Let me just tell you that the Israelites battle with 300, and they don't even use swords, and they win the battle. And it's a really cool story, and it's an awesome example of God's faith, of God's miracle. It's an awesome example. But what I want to look at is the way that Gideon had a plan, and he believed he was following God's plan. And then God said, I'm going to change the plan just a little bit. Well, actually, I'm going to change the plan a lot. And then I'm going to change it just a lot more. I'm going to talk about our plans. Plans we have for the future, plans we have, and what happens when our plans get told, get changed. If you remember March 8th, 2020? Let me tell you, March 8th, 2020, the church was full. We had a great Sunday. Pastor preached something, I'm sure. It was a great day. It was an awesome day. And you know how many people were here March 15th? 0. None of you were here. None of you were here. None of us were here. We had the worship team, and as soon as they were done singing, they got in their cars and left. There was a camera right here. I believe it was Terry's phone. And pastor made an announcement, and I preached to nobody. Our plans got changed. How many weddings and funerals and things didn't get to happen in 2020 because our plans instantly, immediately changed? It wasn't like we had an option. We couldn't say, well, we're not going to go. You had to. The government, everything's shut down. You could not do anything. You couldn't have a meeting of greater than 10 people. That's it. You could have 10 people. And I think we might have cheated a little bit. I think we had 10 on the worship team, Terry, and then me. So we were over. We're probably the reason COVID is still around today. But if you remember the COVID, as bad as it is and as awful as it's been to us, and the lives we've lost, and the years of our lives that we've lost, I'm hoping we understand that it brings change. And how do you deal with the change? How do you deal with what you can't control? A lot of times we make plans and we have an idea, and this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to be right on it. And then something comes up and absolutely changes it. And now you got to decide, what is a new normal? What's a new way of doing this? How are we going to do church now? How are we going to do meetings now? How are we going to do it under this new guideline, these new rules? Plans are awesome to have. I love them. I tell you, I'm a planner. But when the plans get changed, here's the problem. If I'm looking to God, then I don't care if a plan gets changed, because I'm looking to Him. I'm following Him. I'm not following the plan. I'll tell you where I came up with this message, or a thing God put on my heart today. I'm next door, and I'm praying early this morning, and I'm thanking God for all He's brought me through. Now, I'm not like the rest of you. I actually had a season in my life where I hated God, I turned from God, and rebelled against God. I have not lived a holy life as you guys have. I was angry and upset, and I was talking to God today, and I said, thank you for not giving up on me when I did that, when I shook my fist, when I was angry, when I was mad, when I was upset. But then I said, God, wouldn't it have been so much easier if you would have just told me the plan, and then I wouldn't have to go through that? I wouldn't have to be a spoiled teenager. I wouldn't have to be a brat if I knew what was coming, if I knew what was eventually going to come my way, if I knew Tammy was on the way, if I knew my kids, if I knew all this was going to happen, I probably would not have acted that way. And here's what He told me. He said, I need you to follow me, not the plan. Because if you follow me, then you'll follow me when you don't know the plan. But if you only follow the plan, you'll get mad at me when you don't know the plan. And it brought conviction. That's where faith is forged. Faith is not forged when you know every step and what's going to happen and what's going to be the end result. Faith is when you don't know, but you say, you know what, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to follow. I'm still going to listen. I'm still going to worship. I'm still going to trust God. It's easy when we can say, oh, look, this is sure going easy in my life. But what about when it doesn't go easy? You remember our good buddy David. David had a plan. His plan was to take a basket of food to his brothers, go home, watch some sheep, write some songs, and call it a day. But God had other plans for David's day. David gets down there. There's a giant causing trouble. Now David puts the food down. Now I've got to deal with this guy. But you know what? He didn't get upset or angry, or he got his slingshot, took it out of his back pocket, went down there, did what he had to do. I don't even know what he did the rest of the day. Did he walk back home and his dad say, how'd it go? Nothing. I just gave the food to my brothers. We're good. David had other plans, but God said, I got a bigger plan. I want you to do my plan. I want you to follow this. And what's cool about David is he didn't skip a beat. He didn't say, God, I need you to prove yourself. I need you to show me that this is really what I'm supposed to do. He had walked so close with God, he knew that's what he was supposed to do. Our walk with God should be dependent on who God is, not what we see Him doing or how we think He should be doing something. Oh, follow the one who makes the plan, not the plan. So I was talking to one of the missionaries at this conference, and we were discussing some stuff, and he was talking about that he was supposed to go out. He's an island missionary, and he was supposed to go to another island, and they couldn't get there, so they ended up at this different island, and things didn't work out. They didn't have a motel. All the things that didn't work. But then as we're talking, things began to fall into place. Like he ran into someone he wasn't supposed to run into because he was on a different island. He did this and he did that. And we were discussing, I said, you know what? Some of the best stories happen when the plans don't go according to plan. Some of your best vacation stories, some of your best testimonies of what God has done in your life will happen when it's not according to plan. I didn't mean to do this, but man, God showed up and this happened, or he did this, or he provided. Some of the best stories happen when the plans are folded up and thrown away, when the map is thrown away. Paul, I'll end with this story about Paul. Paul, we know, the apostle, was always trying to get to Rome. That was his thing. I got to get to Rome. I want to get to Rome. And we know, we have 22,000 years of hindsight, that he does eventually get to Rome. But Paul didn't get there on his plan. He got there in God's plan, in God's timing. And Paul didn't get there as an apostle. He got there as a prisoner. So he got there. He knew he was following God's plan. But Paul never said, you know what? I'm so mad at God, I'm going to buy my own ticket to Rome. You know what? I'm so mad at God, I'm just going to go on my own. Or, you know what? I'm so mad at God, I'm not going to tell anyone about him because I'm a prisoner. I'm in shackles. This is not how I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in a church. I'm supposed to be preaching to thousands. I'm supposed to start the greatest Rome revival the world has ever seen. But Paul didn't. Paul knew my eyes are on God, and whatever he does is the best. And his plan will always be perfect, and his plan will always be right. Plans are vital. Plans are essential. You got to have them. Don't go through life just saying, well, I'll wake up and see what happens. We took the youth group down to Houston a couple years ago. Me and Tammy took them down for nationals. And before you do a big event like that, you got to meet with the board, because the board's got some questions for you. If you're going to take our youth group, 2 or 3 states away, where are you going to stay? Who's paying for it? How are you going to raise the money? What vehicle are you going to drive? How are you getting there? So we go to the meeting with the board, me and Tammy, and my wife is very thorough. Very thorough. They ask her all these questions. How much will you have to raise? It's going to be $10,000. How are you going to do it? We're going to sell tamales. We're going to do flamingos. We're going to do this and bake sale, and we got this. And we usually make $400 at this, so we're going to do 3 of those. And she had every dot and T crossed. She had every answer given. How are you going to get down there? We're going to rent a van. Where are you going to rent it from? This company out of Denver is going to bring it over. We're going to pull a trailer using a U-Haul truck. We're going to do this. We're going to stay at a B&B. The cost is this. I got to put a deposit down by next week. She had there was not a question they had she didn't have an answer for. Now, what if Tammy had gone into that board meeting and they said, all right, Tammy, I know you want to take the youth group down to Texas. You're going to take them down for a week. What's your plan? No real plan. We're just going to do it by faith. We're just going to show up and see what happens. Where are you going to stay? I don't know. I'll find something when we get down there. That would have been the shortest board meeting this church has ever had. Because that door would have shut behind us before we could even get to our car. You got to have a plan. Don't go through life without a plan. My purpose of my message today is not to tell you to live life without a plan. My message today is to give you this. When your plans change, what does it do to your attitude? What does it do to your heart? What does it do to your mind? Are you angry? Are you upset? Are you bitter? Are you frustrated? Or you know what? Hey, God, you're in control of this. You're in control of this. It's not yours. At the last slide there, Mr. Dean. That's one of the shows I liked in the 80s, the A-Team, if you're not familiar with it. The guy in charge there, right there in the middle, his favorite saying was, I love it when a plan comes together. And here my question for today as we get ready for communion is, what do you do when it doesn't come together? What do you do when your vacation plans fall short? What do you do when your ministry plans fall short? What do you do when you got an awesome, beautiful wedding planned and COVID-22 now shows up and you can't have it? What are you going to do when there's things you can't control? There's things that we can't see coming, but God does. My point is this: as a Christian, my heart is, you know what, God, you're in control of this situation. You're in control of this disease. You're in control of this time in our society. You're in control of this. It was awesome. We did have to change how we did church, but you know what? We had a guy who knew how to get us online. Terry knew how to hook up the phone, how to get us filming, so we didn't miss one Sunday. Pastor didn't come out and say, sorry, we just don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to deal with it. Terry said, hey, I know how to make this work. Let's get online. We've made some changes since then. We got cameras and more things, and it's awesome, and that's cool, and that's great. But when something happens to affect your life, to affect your change, to affect your normal, how do you handle it? I would hope you would go to God. I would hope you would say, you know what? It's not my stress. It's not mine to worry about. It's not mine. And here's what gets me. Here's where I had to do my own prayer, my own conviction. I am very easily angered when my plans do not work, especially if it's my fault. Especially if I miscalculated something, or I went on the wrong day, or I went to the wrong store, or I picked up something that I ordered from a different store and went to this one. I am easily angered. So this message, I preached it, but it was as much for me. I am a planner. I got to have everything together. So God put on my heart, he said, let this be the year, let 22 be the year where not only do we accept change of plan, but accept it with a right heart and right mind and right life. Because all it will do is just make you sick. It'll make you angry. It's not going to change anything. The fact that we didn't have church for those several months didn't change that we didn't have church. But if you said, I'm not going to be a part, I'm not going to watch online, if they're going to not have church, I'm not going to be a part, that doesn't hurt anybody but you. Same thing with changes that you can't affect, things that you can't control. I'm not going to be a part. Let God be in control of your what you're angry about, what you're upset about, and give him your plans. Give him your plans. If you give him your plans, then whatever happens has to be because he wanted it, right? If I say this is in God's hands, I want to go to that mercy ship. I've been working hard for it. It's been 2 years, only 1 year that I've been doing the weight loss, but I've been working on it for 2 years. I've been doing all the stuff, all the research. I've been calling people. But you know what? If I get to the end and God says, not this year, you know what? Then I won't. God's got a reason. God's got a plan. God's got a purpose for it. Whatever you're going through, whenever it has changed in your life, it's not there by accident. God has a plan. He's going to use it. I'm going to close in prayer. And then we're going to do communion. We're going to do it a little different because we're lacking some ushers this morning. But as I pray, I want you to consider, are you a planner or a flower? If you're a planner like me, let those plans go. Let them go to God and say, you know what? It's in your hands. And if you're a flower, then make some plans. God, right now, I thank you. I thank you for you being you. I thank you for you being in control. I thank you that no virus, no disease, no sickness ever catches you by surprise. I thank you that we had the technology to work through it. I thank you that we had the right heart and the right mind and the right spirit, God. I pray that as we enter 2022, that you will just show us those places in our lives maybe we're holding on too tight. Those places of our lives we've just penciled in and we've penned in our calendar and we said, this will happen. I will make this happen. God, I pray that we will have the attitude of, if it's your will, it will happen. Whether that's our ministry, our marriage, our family, our church. God, let us always give our plans to you. And when they change, let us look for the fun. Let us look for the why it was changed and just be happy in it. In your name I pray, amen.